Hello, hello, Amplify You family. Michelle Abraham, your host here today. And oh my gosh, you guys, I've got a really cool guest for you today. I've actually got to meet her in person. We are coming to you today with a behind the mic interview with Jazmin Salinas. So, Jazmin, hi, how are you doing today?
Hey, Michelle, it's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor. We met a couple weeks ago and right away we connected with each other. So I'm super excited to be on your show today.
Oh my gosh, so much fun to have someone that you've actually met in person on my show, which is so great. So let me tell you guys a little bit more about Jazmin. And as she mentioned, we connected a few weeks ago, and I was actually at her book launch event in Dallas, which was really cool. So we got to stand on the red carpet together, and I got to hold her book that she was a part of, and it was really awesome to meet her. We're going to dive into that book too in a moment here, but let me tell you a little bit more about Jazmin. She's the founder of Massive Capital Girls Society, which is awesome, and we're going to talk about more about that later too. She's a co-author of The Powerful Female Immigrants Volume 2, which is the book launch I was at. She's also investor relations manager at Massive Capital. She's got 3+ years as an active investor in commercial and land, and she co-sponsors 800+ units in 2022. Wow, that's huge. Plus and LP 174 units. Wow. So obviously she's a serial entrepreneur with a huge heart and a wide range of experience. So Jazmin, we're so excited that you're here today, and you've launched 2 business startups in the past 3 years. And holy, when do you sleep?
That's a good question. And you know what's the best part? That I actually need my 8 hours of sleep. Like I can function without my 8 hours. But yeah, it's been a busy journey for sure.
That is amazing. So let's dive in first about the book that you were just in. So Powerful Female Immigrants. What inspired you to be a part of this book?
So one of the reasons, of course, I feel like, one of the people, as people, we all have a story. Mm-hmm. And my story was to come to this country. I was already 18. So I was already building my persona, right, in Mexico, and building my businesses, getting my degree. And out of the blues, like we just moved to United States. So that was my challenge, overcome that, reinvent myself, start from scratch, learn the language, all that. But I also understand that all of us, nobody has it together. We all go through hardships, challenges. We all have barriers. And the reason why I decided to write this book, it was because we need to understand that nobody has it together. However, it's our choice to use them as excuses or reasons to make something with our lives. Like we can play the victim role if we want to achieve something in life. So that was the main reason. Like just tell people like, hey, this was my challenge. You have your own challenges and we all go through hardships, but we need to still, somebody in the same situation that you are is winning. So that was the reason why I decided to share my story with people.
And it's an incredible story. And I think it's so powerful what you're saying. Like you can use that as an excuse, or you can use it to make something of your life. And this is the other volume of the book. I'm waiting for the volume that you're in to come in the mail still. Yes. It takes a little longer to get here. There you go. This one's the white one. But these stories of the women that I met at the book launch, and just incredible stories, incredible women. And all you guys all have one thing in common, is that you've made this decision to do something massive with your life. And, one of the things that I find so impressive about you, Jazmin, is that you are a female entrepreneur who's out there with this drive and this passion for helping people create financial wealth. But at the same time, you also have this give back side of what you're doing. And so you founded something called Massive Capital Girls Society. So tell us a little bit about that and why you're so passionate about that project.
Yeah, so I'm so passionate because especially in the industry that I am, on real estate, commercial real estate, building, buying complex apartments is like very male-oriented industry. And when we get to sit at these tables, it's like I'm the only woman or just a couple more women. And I'm like, first of all, we need more representation of women in this industry, and we need to be sitting at this table. That was number one. Number two is like, we are so blessed to be part of these partnerships, these mentorships. And the reality is that most women out there, they don't have access to this. And for us, it's like, we can, like, you're like, for us, it's a daily thing, you know, daily calls, daily meetings, daily decisions, running the portfolios. And you almost get so used to that you take it for granted. And I'm like, we need to give back to the community and just bring it back to other women who doesn't have access to all these that we have. So that was the number two. And number three is just like, I'm so passionate about creating wealth and, you know, building my career, my portfolio, leaving a legacy. But I also very passionate about growing on every single aspect of our lives, personally, professionally, and spiritually. I highly believe that we need to be aligned on every single aspect of our lives in order to excel to highest levels, and everything needs to be aligned. I don't really believe in balance, but I believe in alignment. And that's the reason why I put this community together, so we all can learn from each other in every single aspect, not just mastermind, real estate, all the aspects in life.
I love it. What a great community, and like how needed. Like I remember back, like, you know, 20 something years ago when I became an entrepreneur, I was like, it was a lonely place. There was not a lot of like support for other women doing really cool things. So I think that's so amazing that you're a part of this organization and giving back to, you know, the women that are just getting started, and like to see women have such great success like you've had is really inspiring, and will, I'm sure, motivate them to also do that as well. So tell us a little bit about, so Jazmin is one of our podcast guests that we love recommending on shows. Like, she's a fantastic guest that will really help inspire your audience, especially if your audience is full of women and who are driven and wanting to be successful in their businesses. Jazmin obviously has been successful in several startups and several businesses. And so, Jazmin, tell us a little bit more about like what you want to share with people when you go on podcasts.
So first of all, I would love to share that part of overcoming our challenges mindset, how our mindset can take us anywhere. You know, your degrees, your background, all that, those are just barriers. But when we have and we put our mindset set to something, we can do it. So that's number one. Of course, sharing a little bit about my experience on real estate. So many people get so intimidated about buying buildings. You know, like, it's so common to buy a house and Airbnb nowadays. But when we talk about big numbers and buying a whole building of complex apartments, people get very intimidated and they think like they need to have like 50 million on their bank account. And it's not like that, you know, like we all can start. And how the partnership, how important is to network, connect with people, and leverage each other, others people's money, others people's network, track record. When I started in multifamily, I realized like if I wait until I can buy one of these buildings on my own, like it's gonna take me 100 years, you know. Okay. I quickly understood that it was all about partnering with somebody else and partnering with the right people. So that's some of the topics that I can speak on. And of course, you know, I'm very driven about helping women create generational wealth. It's the community that I'm part of.
Yeah, there's so many women that, you know, I've seen so many cases where women, like, you know, all of a sudden their spouse dies or whatever, and then they actually have no idea about any of the finances. So I think this is empowering women from a younger age to start really like learning about finances and like having the empowerment to invest on your own, and to also be part of a group that invests in. To, you know, you don't have to wait to marry someone that has money to do that. Like that's like the old way of doing things. Right now, it's like we have to do it ourselves.
One of the things that I always say is like we need to take responsibility of our finances. It doesn't matter who your husband is gonna be. It doesn't matter who your dad is. Nothing matters. Like we need to be responsible, and you know, it goes back. It's all together. Like we need to take ownership of our decisions, our finances, everything.
Mm-hmm. What inspired you to get into real estate in the first place?
So I always wanted to have my business and, this entrepreneurship program that so I was just saving money. I was saving money because my dad told me, like, any business that you want to start, you're going to need money. That's for sure. So I was working while I was in college, working and saving money. And then at one point I was like, I don't think I want to have my money in the bank anymore. Like, it's not doing anything. You get 0.001%, right? So back then I had 45,000 in my bank account. And I was like, what should I do? Buy a house, buy a duplex, buy land? What should I do? I just knew one thing. Real estate is the best and safest place. Like, I can't afford just to lose it all. So I knew real estate was what I wanted to do, but I wasn't ready to start buying a fixer-upper, house that you repair and resell, deal with all that permits and contractors. So what I did was this, like, I'm just going to buy a piece of land, and I'll decide if I build or what I do. Long story short, I bought this piece of land, and a few months later, I got the opportunity to work for a real estate investment firm. And I started learning how to analyze the properties. And then that's when I realized I didn't get such a deal on this. I pay higher than anybody else in the neighborhood. It's on the flood zone. And I was like, oh my God. So what I did is I'm just going to sell it. And, when you invest, the rule number one is never lose money. So I just sold it for 50,000, got my money back, made $5,000. And, long story short, like, I just started doing that over and over again because now I had money. I don't want to have it on my bank account and started doing. So that's how I got in real estate. And after that, just dive into multifamily.
Cool. What makes the multifamily so appealing to someone who's like just starting investing?
So first of all, because you don't, so how I started is like, okay, I knew after, doing all these transactions with land, I want to do something else. I want to create something in the long term. With the land, it's just like buy and resell, like get rich quick kind of thing. But I wasn't building anything in the long term. So for somebody who is starting, the way I did it, and it worked for me, is like, let me invest my money just to see how everything works. But it just made sense to me how the compound effect of investing, like let's say you invest $100,000 in 5 years, it turns in anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000.
That's great.
So for the sake of math, let's just leave it in 200. But if those 200, you invest them again, it turns in 400 and 800, and that's how the wealth gets created. So that's how I started, like, just to understand the model, how everything works, and everything made sense to me.
That's so smart. So then eventually you are then living off of what you're making from the real estate instead of like having to like, have a job, and that's how the wealthy get more wealthy because you're working, your money's working for you instead of you working for that money, right?
Exactly.
Very cool. What are the requirements for investing in like multifamily to get started?
That's a great question. So it depends on the structure of the deal. Some of the deals are just open for accredited investors. With that said, it's a person who for the last year made at least $200,000, and if they are married, 300 jointly, or have a net worth of $1 million. Also, we have excluding the residential home. And also we have another model that we use a lot as well. And this is for people who are not accredited investors. They are not there just yet. And the only requirement is that they need to have a relationship with at least one of us in the team. Like, we need to know them for 60 days. So we can just be like, I just met you at this book launch. Do you want to invest with me? Like, I can solicit money like that. Right. So just build a relationship with me or with anybody on the team will give you access to these deals as well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I was wondering what the accredited investor meant, but now that you explained that, that makes a lot of sense. So that means they have a certain amount of money and a certain amount of net worth already. And so they're already it's almost like being pre-approved.
Exactly, because this is all regulated by SEC. So what they do is like look out for you, and they don't want to make sure you understand what you're doing, and we're not taking like the last $50,000 that you have on your bank account. Like people who knows and understands the risk of investing.
That's awesome. I really think that's great. And I love that you guys are, really helping. Like, I would imagine a lot of your clients are probably female, and a lot of like, either single women or moms or people that are wanting to start investing to kind of feel empowered and have that own ownership of their money. Is that correct to say that that's your target audience?
Yeah, mainly is women in business. Most of the women are in different industries who have started business at one point and grow it, making now 7 to 8 figures. And once you have a business, like you gotta start putting your money somewhere. Like you can keep it on the bank, and investing in real estate assets is, we go back to the benefits of having your money working for you instead of you working for your money.
That's great. So if you're a podcaster listening to this story, Jazmin's obviously got a lot of experience and a lot of expertise in this. So if you have female entrepreneurs in your audience, you have female professionals in your audience, you have young females in your audience. These are all great audiences for Jazmin to speak in front of. So please reach out to us at Amplify You. So it's Michelle@amplifyu.ca. And we'll help you connect to Jazmin so you can have her on your show as well, because she makes a fabulous podcast guest. Jazmin, where else can our audience get to know more about you if they're interested in reaching out to you to learn more about the Girl Society or your other business websites and things like that?
Sure, they can reach out to me in our website, massive.capital. And they will find Massive Capital Girls Society. They will find my ebook and everything. So just massive.capital, not .com or anything, just massive.capital.
Perfect. That makes it so easy.
Yes.
So reach out to Jazmin at massive.capital and book her on your show, or reach out and have a conversation with her about how she can come in and speak into your organization as well, or have her come and join your podcast. So Jazmin, this has been fabulous getting to know you more. Any last words of wisdom and advice you'd like to leave with our listeners today?
One is just like the first thing that we need to work is in our mindset. Whatever goals you're trying to achieve, whatever industry you are, personally, professionally, or spiritually, any goal that you have, the first thing that we need to do is fix our minds so that our mind can unlock any doors.
I love it. Our mind can unlock any doors. That's so true, isn't it? Love it. Well, thank you for those words of advice. And thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I look forward to hearing all your podcasting adventures coming up and all the success that you've had. And I look forward to reading your chapter in the book that is coming in the mail. Awesome. Thanks so much, Jazmin, for being here with us today. And we will see you again, Amplify You family. Go check out Jazmin's book. Make sure you grab it on Amazon. It's Powerful Female Immigrants. Incredible, inspiring stories there. Make sure you go check out her Massive Capital Girls Society, and make sure you check out her website at massive.capital.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It was a pleasure being with you today.
You're welcome. All right, you guys, have a great, fabulous week. We'll see you again here next week.